Your two heat race winners will lead the field around one more time. See the orange cone, and the green flag goes up. The hammer goes down on the 38C of the principal, Jason Persley, as he will try to lead him around through lap number 1. Wolf behind him, along with the 5 of Robbie Reed. John Chute to the inside of Wolf, and Persley leads around a big group, all beating and banging and looking for a good line as they come off of turn number 4.
And a good start for Peyton Phillips, as he was a couple of starting positions behind John Chute. He finds himself right beside him, and now Chase Domer 1, 2, 3 in the points, and they are 1, 2, 3 all side by side before the end in front of the 98 with a car cushion in between, all for that to happen.
Well, we got 19 laps to figure it out as Jason Persley powers his 38C back into the lead on the green flag restart. Here, 1 lap in the books. That new red and white ride of Robbie Reed, one of his 2 cars, holding on to the second spot, trying to keep Tracy Wolf at bay. And now Chute spins and hits into the wall.
Snap that streak sometime this year, and if he can stay ahead of Chase Domer, he'll probably pick up a midseason championship.
Right now, he's got 4 cars to get around if he wants to get into clean air and have some room to run here at the Lucas Oil Speedway. But so far, restart for restart, Jason Persley has been able to get a good jump on the field. Chase Jones up around the top of the racetrack, holds it just off the wall. And now Robbie Reed trying to roll his car through the middle of turn 1 and 2 and wrench the lead away from Jason Persley.
Well, the 2 chases, Chase Domer and Chase Jones, got together. Now Chase Jones is the worst for the wear, as he has set anchor. He has gone all the way to the tailback of the field as he was up in the top 5. Now Peyton Phillips gets into Duvall.
Peyton Phillips gives a bump to Big Daddy, who had made a huge move. Duvall started 14th on the field, and he is all the way up to 3rd, and that bump by Phillips hasn't changed the run for the 91. Now we've got another spin. 2 cars come together for your racing enjoyment. 3 laps down, 17 to go as Reed roars back out to the front. The red and white rocket of Robbie Reed trying to take control in this one. He is chased by Persley, Duvall, Peyton Phillips, and the 155 of Terry Kirk, your top 5. Now Lucas Gibbs throwing his name into the ring, trying to get a top 5 spot as he chases Kirk. Reed using the middle of the racetrack. We saw drivers try to go to the top of the track early on in the night. The track hadn't come in yet. It definitely has now. Some dry, slick spots out there for the drivers. Some of them, that's just the way they like it. Now as Domer does a donut, Wolf spins around. Phillips and Kirk, 1 through 5, Lucas Gibbs, and the Wheatland Outlaw, Mike Striegel, behind them as we go back to green flag racing. We've run about as many caution laps as we have green flag laps. We'll try to get through lap number 5 here, the Pitts Homes USRA Modified Division. Reed has that race car on a rail. Duvall plowing up dirt through 1 and 2 as he goes to the outside of Persley, trying to hold and wrench away that number 2 spot, and he's got it. Big Daddy now barrels through 3 and 4. Will set his sights on that red and white rocket, the number 5 of Robbie Reed. It's been an up and down season for Joe Duvall, chasing the USMTS points. Mike Striegel back in that number 7 spot, a rookie in the USMTS point race this year. As Reed brings it around again, his advantage 0.7 of a second over Duvall, and Duvall's going to cut that in half, but Reed gets a good run off of turn number 2, and Peyton Phillips, Shane, starting to drop back a little bit. He's going to get trained by Kirk and Lucas Gibbs as they try to take the spot away from the 98.
And he desperately needs to stay out in front of that group. If he loses any ground to 1 or 2 cars, that could spell disaster for him.
How about the 1 or 2 cars up front here as Joe Duvall has pulled up door handle to door handle with Reed. Big Daddy tries to slide in front of him, cuts the nose off of the 5, and he'll lead him around into lap number 9.
Not a bad stop off for Joe Duvall in this race as he is midway through. A one-off race for him, if you will, and he goes from 14th to 1st. The 91 with that red, white, and blue 1 on the side.
trying to pull away from Reed now, who had a commanding lead until Joe Duvall got around Jason Pursley. And once he passed the principal, it was off to the races. He has set sail around Robbie Reed and trying to extend his lead now more than midway through this 20-lap feature. Duvall at the line this time now has a lead of 1.1 seconds over Robbie Reed. Reed, the man from Mexico, Missouri, trying to now, Shane, search up and down the track, find a different line that he can run and cut down on the differential between he and Joe Duvall. Duvall and Reed won 1 and 2. Pursley a long way back to third, and then the 98 of Peyton Phillips, and Mike Striegel now has a top 5 spot here as he tries to keep Terry Kirk in his rear view.
Not only keep him in his rear view, but set sail for the 98. He's got 2 cars in front of him. There's an opportunity for Striegel to get all the way up to third in this race with 7 laps left.
Duvall continues to add to his lead, now almost a second and a half over Robbie Reed as the 91 rolls off of turn 4 one more time and comes underneath the flag stand with 7 laps remaining in this feature. All the cars now, Shane, have kind of strung out nose to tail except for the Wheatland Outlaw, who's trying to get his nose underneath Peyton Phillips. He loses a little ground there off of turn number 2, but the Wheatland Outlaw will try and make another move here through the transition between 3 and 4. Phillips washes up the racetrack a little bit, and Jason Pursley trying to keep both the 98 and the 17 behind him. Duvall now with a ton of space. He's got a big gap between what would be the first lap car in front of him in the 24D of Fellers, and then he's got a 2.3 second advantage over Robbie Reed. He's driving with no one on either end of the straightaway. It's like a time trial for Joe Duvall. Pursley in a hornet's nest now. Back in third place, they'll go 3 wide through turn number 4. Will Pursley, Striegel, and Peyton Phillips trying to power around the 38C. Phillips holds his line through the middle of turn number 2. He will take the spot away from the principal and trying to drag Mike Striegel along with him as the Outlaw tries to get around the 38 as well as they work their way off of turn number 4. Striegel gets a good run. Pursley starts to close the door on him, then comes back down to the bottom of the racetrack. Bruce Cordy puts the white flag up for Joe Duvall now. Duvall coming off of turn number 2 just has one more circuit to make it around. He had a rough go of it in Wisconsin. Racing in the USMTS, he'll put a couple of cars a lap down here, and on Father's Day weekend, it's a win for Big Daddy.
By side, nose to tail. Bruce Cordy looks him over off of turn 4. They step on the loud pedal and the field will come to life as they're side by side with the pair of 27s in turn 1 and 2. Daniel Deason looks to split the wicket but chooses wisely, backs off, and Bob Barnett will have a good run on that high side. Corey, that top groove has not been the route around this track here tonight, but Bob Barnett makes it work on lap 1.
First time we've seen anybody get a really good bite around the top of the track, and 127 out dueling the other as they drag race down the back stretch now. The Republic, Missouri racer, Bob Barnett around the top of the track. Good drive into turns 3 and 4 this time by your 2017 track champion, but it's the black and orange 27 that continues to stay out in front 2 laps in.
Just by a half a car length, and you wonder how long these 2 cars will be able to keep this pace up side by side. 2 laps in, they'll go 25 times around, 750 to the winner here tonight. This time off at turn 4, it'll be Bob Barnett again, keeping his nose out in front. He has led all 3 laps so far as it's side by side up front. Daniel Deason all alone back in third, and then a whole gaggle of cars back behind them with a 4-car battle for fourth. It's James Flood to the inside. Scott Johnson goes high groove. Mark Carter will follow low line as well, tries to get inside that 7M, as that time around Toby Ott had the nose out in front underneath the flag stand. He leads his first lap of the night.
It could be a big payday in the street stock division if Toby Ott takes the win, and as you already say, will get the points, the midseason points title. Could be a $1,250 $50 payday. But now this time Bob Barnett will eke out the other 27 at the line as they start lap number 5.
Boy, how many times do you see a street stock division come away with a 4-digit paycheck at the end of the night? Very rarely happens. This time Barnett goes a little bit too high, and it will cost him as Toby Ott has a full car length advantage that time across the line. Barnett tries not to make that mistake again, and this time he won't as he gets the run off of turn 2. He will get his nose out in front as they're over in 3 and 4.
They had traded the lead, Shane, on the 3 previous laps. Now Toby Ott will lead for a second straight lap, breaking up the string of back and forth between Ott and Barnett. And all the while, Daniel Deason has just kind of laid in the weeds back behind them, about 8 car lengths behind, and then Flood about 4 car lengths behind him, watching this great battle up front between Ott and Barnett.
You know, you wonder if Toby Ott, if he can ever get out in front of Bob Barnett, if he will try to chop across the nose at some point in time just to break Bob Barnett's momentum. I don't think Toby Ott really wants to run that top line, but if just one time he can get out in front, he may be able to slow Bob Barnett down. That time in 3 and 4, Toby Ott hits a rut. He gets a little out of shape, and he will lose ground to Bob Barnett, who takes the lead over, and now Barnett will get out to a full car length advantage. First time anybody's had a decent lead in this race so far, as it was 3 car lengths, but Toby Ott will get back in the groove and grab that position back as he is now just 2 car lengths behind Barnett across the line.
Barnett's lead that time around, Shane, was 0.3 seconds, and that's about the biggest lead either one of these 2 drivers has enjoyed now, as we're starting to get a race back for third, as James Flood has cut down all the difference between he and the driver of the 1D, as he and Daniel Deason are only separated by 2 car lengths down the front straight.
Again, the 227 stays side by side. Deason, a car length advantage out in Flood, as he now securely has third. And for the first time, really, we see the cars kind of line out 1 through 6 with Barnett out in front. Toby Ott continues to hit that rough patch over in 3 and 4 and lose ground, and that allows Barnett to stretch that lead out. Now Deason stays low groove. He's the lowest of all the front 4 cars on the track as he is way down on the apron.
And it's a battle for first between Ott and Barnett, and then a 2-car battle for third between Deason and Flood, and another pair of cars battling back for 5th place, Mark Carter and Cody Frazen in the 04.
So a pair of 27s up front, duking it out. One leads one lap, the other leads another. Now Cody Frazen takes 5th away from Mark Carter. That is the 04 moving out in front of the 10. Toby Ott tried to get a run off of 4, and he will at least pull side by side with Bob Barnett, but Barnett leads lap number 14. This time around, it will complete lap 15, 10 left for your O'Reilly Auto Parts Street Stocks, and nothing has been more entertaining tonight than watching those 2 cars out in front be side by side nearly every single lap.
And they have not missed a mark, as they have hit their spots every time around, racing one another clean. Barnett, the 2016 track champ at Nevada. Toby Ott, the 2017 track champ at Lucas Oil Speedway. And finally,
he has been rim riding the entire time, so he chooses to go top side, gets a little squirrely off of 4. That will allow Toby Ott to check out at the start. Gets out to a 2-car length advantage, opens the door for Johnny Coates, opens it for Mark Carter. Now Cody Frazen takes that 2nd spot away as he pulls ahead of the 27, taking over that 2nd spot. Toby Ott out in front by 2-car lengths off of turn 4. Barnett stays to the outside, gets pinched up right at the line by Cody Frazen, but Frazen will still give him plenty of room to run. As Frazen in 2nd, Ott in 3rd, Johnny Coates in 4th. And the 44 of Steve Scott will check out over in turn 2. And also checking out is Toby Ott. What was a side-by-side battle for 15 laps between the 227s. A caution flag changes the whole tune of this song, as now Toby Ott has stretched out to almost a full 2nd advantage over Cody Frazen.
Cody Frazen for the first time running in that second spot with Johnny Coates behind him. Bob Barnett falling all the way back to fourth. Frazen trying to run around the middle of the racetrack. Coates bottom feeding around the bottom inside of turn number 2. And does Frazen have a line that will allow him to cut down the difference between he and the 27 Ott of Toby Ott? This time by Shane, he does a little bit better. He cuts about 3/10 of a second off the differential between he and the race leader.
Well, Cody Frazen has gone to the Toby Ott line. For a number of laps, Frazen was way down low on the apron. He was finding the fast way around there, and then all of a sudden he gets right back up, follows the bumper of Toby Ott, and is able to gain some ground.
Johnny Coates running that same top line as Bob Barnett is. He just gets into it a little bit later in the turn, drifts up the racetrack, and holds on to the number 3 spot in front of the racer from Republic, Missouri. And Frazen, Shane, continues to be the hard charger as he cuts down the difference and is just about 3 car lengths behind Toby Ott.
Cuts off another 1/10 of a second that time around. With 4 laps left, he will pull right up on that back bumper. Cody Frazen continues to make up ground. He just can't make up enough. This will complete lap 22. Now to the inside. He will get door handle to door handle with Toby Ott. Ott squeezes him down just a hair and then gets back up off the track. Now Cody Frazen has that preferred line. He will get around the 27 off of turn 2. Can he continue that pace for 2 more laps? Off of turn 4, he'll see the start-finish line and 2 more times around for Cody Frazen. The 0-4 now to a 2-car length advantage over Toby Ott. He continues to pull him down the backstretch. White flag in Bruce Cordy's hand. Cody Frazen will see it first time around. He leads Toby Ott over into turn 1. Ott tries to find a different line, goes way high on the track. It's not going to serve him well as he will lose ground, and Cody Frazen a half a lap between himself and his first feature win of the season. Don't call it an SI jinx anymore. He's on the front page of your victory lane, and he will find his way to victory circle.
New face making its way to victory lane here at the Diamond of Dirt tracks. Jackson puts the hammer down as the green flag goes up. He and Turner will drag race down the front stretch as they're lined up 2 by 2 by 2 behind him. Turner slides in behind the 65, stays in front of the 8 of Dylan McCowan.
Be fun to watch the 28 move up through the field as he has already picked away a couple spots, and he is the first one to go way on the high side and try to make a move.
And that's where he was earlier in the night, and he found a lot of success up there. A lot of tack for the 28 around the top of the racetrack. A couple other cars trying their hand at the top side as well, along with the red and black 68 of Tim Brown. But it's Chris Jackson that leads them around through 2 laps. Taylor Moore was the midseason points champion a year ago. He's now right on the back bumper of the 99T of Eric Turner. The driver from Bodark, Missouri, gets a good line around the bottom of the racetrack. The 181 of Luke Neiman now to the top side. Taylor Moore will have the number 2 spot. Turner in 4th. Dylan McCowan holding on to the number 4 spot. He started in 3rd. The youngster from Urbana puts his nose under the 99T, then backs off a little bit. Neiman to his outside, and Andy Bryant rim riding around behind them.
Everyone knows the tail on deeper in the field. You know, for Taylor Moore up front, he picked up 4 spots last week. The downfall is the same guys are pretty much in front of him every single week. So even though he's improving spots in the standings, he ends up losing points because when you got Chris Jackson dominating up front, kind of makes it difficult to make ground on your point leader.
Taylor Moore was Mr. Consistency a season ago. Shane, if you take out his 8th place finish in week 1, he never finished worse than 5th, but he never won a race. And so in 2018, he finished in 2nd behind J.C. Morton, just in front of Chris Jackson. Jackson continues to lead here now with 6 laps in the books. Taylor Moore behind him right in his tire tracks. Good battle back further in the field for 3rd between Eric Turner, Dylan McCowan, and the 181 of Luke Neiman. The Neiman Motorsports ride that also is the car owner of the 28. And they're only separated by 1 car, the 22 of Brian McGowan. sandwiched in between the two of them as Andy Bryant continues to go around the top side. So does the 134 of Hollywood, Robert Heidenreich. As Heidenreich has had a rough start to his season, trying to knock the rust off, find a setup that'll work for him, and Hollywood starts around the top of the track through 1 and 2 and dive bombs the bottom through 3 and 4.
Well, all that progress that Andy Bryant had has kind of slowed down as his progress through the field is stalled. He's still up on that top side and nobody around him up there, but he's not really able to make ground. The 22 of Brian McCowan is the one that he needs to get by next. He'll try to do that on the front stretch as Dayton Pursley's car takes a spin over in turn 2, and he will wisely. Second time tonight he has made 2 heads-up moves by getting to the infield and staying out of the racing groove.
The 16-year-old making veteran decisions to save the equipment and allow the green flag racing to continue. Chris Jackson has a second lead over Taylor Moore, the double OT, running in second place, and then back to the 99T of Eric Turner in third. But Luke Neiman has pulled that 181 hot rod right up alongside the 99T. They will go side by side off the exit of turn number 4, and Neiman will win the drag race down the front stretch and try to take away his spot there over Eric Turner, vying for a spot in the top 3.
And things are about ready to get interesting for Chris Jackson as he is caught up with the tail end of the lead lap, and he will have to start putting cars down a lap, 1 car at a time. He will go around Ashley Click the first time to the outside. Quentin Taylor is the next one to go a lap down, and he is starting to get into a whole mess of cars, and he just wants to keep his nose clean right now.
Taylor Moore has now got a lapped car in between he and the race leader, Chris Jackson. Moore now able to clear around Columbia, Missouri's Ashley Click. Quentin Taylor, the meat of the sandwich in between Jackson and Moore now, as Jackson has cleared Taylor and Jeff Dowdy. Chris Jackson just methodical as he works his way through the lap traffic. Now he'll have to work around the 31 of Chanute, Kansas's Luke Phillips. Jackson's car, Shane, just able to run anywhere he wants to on the track. He can keep it at the bottom. If he needs to drift up high, he can and run the same line that Andy Bryant does. But that car in the middle groove is where it gets out and runs away from people, and now he's going to put the 31 a lap down. Jackson slides in front of Phillips' ride with 5 laps to go. Taylor Moore almost a full 1.5 seconds behind Chris Jackson now. Jackson has been to victory lane close to a dozen times already this season at various tracks. As McGowan now pulls off, he exits stage right in the final 4 laps. It's Jackson, Moore, Turner, Neiman, Bryant, your top 5. Then J.C. Morton sits in 6th, Robbie Ewan in 7th, Dylan McCowan in 8th. Taylor Moore now has nobody in between he and your race leader as the 21 spins. Going, and Jackson drove it into victory lane and showed us the left side one time, the right side the other, and he'll show the field his back bumper here as he gets going on the green flag restart. Bryant back to the top of the racetrack, trying to get a groove to work as Taylor Moore sees Chris Jackson start to pull away. It was a 1.5 seconds lead that Chris Jackson was enjoying before the caution. Here through this green flag restart, 0.7 seconds the distance between Jackson and the 00T. Now the 14T of Quentin Taylor retires to the infield, as Dayton Pursley did earlier in the night. 2 laps is all that remains.
Good restart there for J.C. Morton as well, as he started deep in the field and he's worked his way up to 4th.
J.C. Morton started 11th, has a top 5 car right now, but Luke Neiman all over the back bumper of the 18.
Hood up on Andy Bryant's car. That'll cause a vision problem and an aerodynamic to time this out and try to stay right on that back bumper, and he does a good job of doing so as she's just a car length behind at the line.
J.C. Morton pushing the 99T out of his way, and he slides up to the top of the racetrack trying to take away the 3rd spot. Andy Bryant back to the top of the track as well, trying to get around the 181 is now the 42. Chris Jackson will be the first to see the orange cone in turn number 4 and Jackson will jam on the gas and go, go, go here as green flag racing commences once again. It'll be the green flag, then the white flag, then the checkered flag. And does anybody have a run in them to get around the 65? Jackson navigates his way off of turn number 4. The white flag is in Bruce Cordy's hands. Only Taylor Moore is probably going to have a chance at the race leader as J.C. Morton does battle with Eric Turner for third. Morton on the high side, Turner on the inside. But Taylor Moore is the only one close to your race leader, and it is going to be a lucky number 13 of the season for Chris Jackson.
Cause all sorts of problems. Todd Chute out front has Ferris to his right side. Green flag is in the air, waved perfectly as the field heads off into turn 1, and Ferris out in front as Cornell goes top shelf, tries to get that big run off of turn 2 as Finewald stays right on his left side, door handle to door handle for the top spot. Door handle to door handle back in row 2.
Great battles all the way through the first 6 in the running order, as it is the driver from Des Moines, Iowa, Todd Chute, trying to hold on to the top spot, battling back against Larry Ferris. Johnny Finewald now with a good run off of Threen Shane has put some distance between he and Caden Cornell on the track, but Johnny Finewald behind him in the points race.
So Ferris to the outside of Chute. Todd worked his way up 7 spots, as we mentioned. He had to go tailback after an incident during that heat race, and he was a man on the mission, getting all the way up to that second place finish, and now they are wheel to wheel in turn 1 and 2. Ferris drifts high on the track, but he is able to carry that momentum off of the turn, but Chute will finally get out in front, chop off the nose of the 51 as they are still nose to tail. Johnny Finewald has cut into that lead. Caden Cornell stays low side off of turn 4, so your point leader is mired back in 4th position right now, and now Finewald has caught up with those top 2 cars, and he is going to make it a 3-way battle as they are 4 laps in and already starting to catch up with lap traffic as the number 6, the first car that will go a lap down, that is Bob Cummings.
The difference between Chute and Larry Ferris the last time around was not much more than a second, a little under that. But now Larry Ferris has more problems as he has got the flash pulling up and around the outside of the 51. Johnny Finewald will try and slide back in behind the 51 as the caution comes out. Got a car
race here this season last week will barrel off of turn 4. Caden Cornell tries to peek to the inside and get a good run to get things started, and the man that will capitalize is the Flash. Johnny Finewald works himself into a second place position, getting around the 51. Now he has his eyes set for 1 spot more as he looks to the outside of Todd Chute. Chute drifts high on the track, cuts off his momentum and will stay out in front, but may not be for long as Johnny Finewald to the outside again. He is right on that back bumper of the number 5. This is a 3-way battle back a little deeper in the field for third as Cole Henson tried to make it 3 wide on the inside. Caden Cornell now side by side with the 51 of Ferris.
Larry Ferris kind of slid back on that restart. Johnny Finewald took the spot away from him, and now it's Finewald and Chute who are out running away and hiding from the rest of the field as they've got a good gap between them, and the battle for third between Larry Ferris and Caden Cornell, the hammer, trying to put the hammer down and get into the middle of that third place battle, but he's about 5 car lengths behind Caden Cornell as they power down the back straight.
And it is 2 distinctly different lines through 1 and 2 as well as 3 and 4 for Todd Chute and Johnny Finewald. They will switch lines this time as Finewald peeks to the inside. He had been way up top in that loose stuff trying to find enough grip and enough bite to get a run off the turn. It didn't work for him last time through 1 and 2 as he looked to the inside, so he goes back to his original line up top in 3 and 4. 1 car off the track, that is Larry Jones in the 99. He will head back to the pit area as Finewald now to a 2-car length deficit to the number 5, working off of turn 4. And again, Bob Cummings the next to go a lap down, a full straightaway in front of your race leader, Todd Chute.
More than halfway home on the 20-lap feature for the Warsaw Auto Marine and RV ULMA late models. Johnny Finewald trying to come up with a way to get around the 5. The driver from Des Moines, Iowa, had a 5th place finish in our feature last week and has his sights set on a much higher conclusion to tonight's story as he continues to lead this race as he has for almost the complete 12 laps since the green flag got us started.
Chute had to change his line just a little bit to find his way around Bob Cummings. He arched into turn 3 just a little higher than normal, but he is able to work around the 6. Now he'll stay in that middle groove with Johnny Finewald looking to the outside. Finewald has not been able to do anything with the 5 right out in front of him. The next 2 cars to get around Bob Cummings are going to go on each end of the spectrum. Now Cornell will go to the outside. He looked to the inside of the number 6 but was unable to make the pass there. He will go to the high line over in 3 and 4 and make that pass as well. Now Finewald draws closer to the number 5, gets a little out of the groove as he does so. He diamonded the corner over in 3 and 4, lost a little bit of ground, and now is trying to make it all back up as the Wardsville Warrior, the next to go a lap down. He has been all over the track tonight, and he gets into the 5. He will get into Chute over in turn 3 as the leader tries to get around him. Got him a little bit squirrely, but he is able to gather it back in. A great job behind the wheel by Todd Chute to get around lap traffic and preserve that lead.
And the crazy part in all that, Shane, is that Johnny Finewald really unable to make any hay out of that deal as you had contact with the race leader, but because Finewald was behind him, had to try and get around the lap car, he really couldn't make up any ground and continues to search for a line that will give him a little bit a bite and a little bit better time as he's 7/10 of a second behind your race leader.
He was 7/10 of a second, but off of turn 2, it was Chute who started to gap him a little bit more. He gets a better run off of 2 than he does off of 4, so he'll stretch that lead out. You see it right there, almost a third of a straightaway, but Finewald is able to eat right back into that lead whenever they get off of turn 4. Caden Cornell has gotten around the 51 of Larry Ferris, but the white flag is in hand. We've wondered all season long, is anyone going to be able to knock the top 3 off the podium of Finewald, Cornell, and Morant? The answer comes in the form of a number 5. Todd Chute will be the first beside the big 3 to get a feature win this season.